Hey, grade 12, we're done. We are done the play. A new record, actually. Compared to the semester system, we were able to accomplish this in a very short amount of time. And your reading of the play out loud was done well. I really enjoyed it. It actually flowed quite nicely. We have some good enunciation by actually all of you. And thanks for participating in the singing parts and having, just to spice it up a bit so that Shakespeare doesn't have to be boring. It can be fun, okay? But we can have fun and be serious at the same time. So Tombstones, that's due on the 23rd, which is actually coming up for almost in a week's time. You only have 10 school days left until the quint's done, and then you have your TED Talks and in-class assignments that are left over for our learning outcomes. So it's important that you get this tombstone out of your or off your plate as soon as possible so you can work in your TED Talks and stay on track with your course outline requirements. All right, so let's get to our play. And there we go. And let's see here. Boom. And we left off. I'm going to go back. I went too far. All right. So we did that one. And okay. We did that one. So right here. So Act 4, Scene 6 is where we left off. And Horatio received a letter from Hamlet stating he's escaped the death ship that was on its way to England. And he says he'll be arriving soon in Denmark, and I'll tell you more about it, of what transpired on this ship. And also Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Okay, so we'll find out what happens there. Act 4, Scene 7, the king is prepping Laertes for revenge on Hamlet by planning a duel. And it'll be public, albeit, where Hamlet will either die by a poisoned sword or drink. So we get we get the plan and we get a backup plan. And then later in the scene, Gertrude comes in and we are informed that Ophelia has tragically passed away via drowning. So that sets us up for the funeral of Ophelia in Act 5, Scene 1. Okay. So Act 5, the rest is silence. Hamlet and Horatio enter a graveyard where two grave diggers are preparing a grave for Ophelia, but Hamlet doesn't know that this is Ophelia's grave. Funeral procession enters and we find out it is Ophelia. Laertes doesn't want to leave his sister to this untimely end and no religious burial, as her death is questionable. So if it's in question, she cannot receive full Christian burial rites. And so Laertes is pleading with the priest for more, but the priest says he can't do anymore. Once Hamlet finds out that it is Ophelia, he comes out and he confesses his love for Ophelia, but nobody believes him because he's been acting mad all this time. And so he gets into the grave and wants to hold on to Ophelia for one last moment, but Laertes also in the grave, trying to have that last moment, starts to fight, and Claudius separates Laertes from Hamlet, and there's going to be a duel. Okay, and that sets us up for Scene 2. In Scene 2, we get to, it's two parts. It actually should be, there should be 3 scenes for Act 5, but it's only 2. Very long scene though. The first part deals with the explanation of how Hamlet got back to Denmark from this death ship that was en route to England. And so the story goes, Hamlet found out that there was a letter that stated that when Hamlet arrives in England, he would be put to death. So he writes up a new letter and uses his signet seal on its ring, which is the seal that he would stamp the wax to make it look official. and then put that copy in with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And of course, that copy would say that it is Rosencrantz and Guildenstern that's supposed to die upon arrival in England. And then there was a battle or invasion from some pirates, I guess, from what he's describing. Hamlet makes a deal with the pirates, which will allow him passage back to Denmark for some cash or jewels or whatever. And so he gets himself back to Denmark because he did have a plan. And whether that was the actual plan, I'm not sure, but he did tell his mom that he had a plan to get back. And so did he know about the fact that he would probably be killed upon arrival in England? Maybe, I don't know. If you know this, if you can find the source or the citation or reference for that, that'd be great to find out, and then we can see whether or not he did know what was going on. Fast forward to part 2, we have the actual duel. Horatio told Hamlet he's going to lose this battle, and he does. Larrity takes the poisoned sword, which was plan number 1. And after some dueling, he strikes Hamlet, and Hamlet's being poisoned. It takes a little while for the poison to get into his system. They scuffle. Hamlet takes Larrity's sword, which is the poison sword, and scratches Larrity's, which leads to a very quick death for him. After, or just before he passed away, though, Larrity admits that the king is the reason why all this is happening. And so the poison sword is used on the king, and the poison drink that killed his mother earlier is also used on the king. So the Queen Gertrude had passed away. She was poisoned from the cup that was supposed to be meant for Hamlet. And then Claudius falls, then Larrity falls, and then Hamlet falls. And just before Hamlet dies, he tells Horatio to tell Fortinbras he's in charge of Denmark, and be sure that this, and tell our story, be sure that this never happens again. And then, of course, Hamlet finishes up the rest of silence, and then Fortinbras arrives with his army, and all he can see are bodies on the floor. Horatio says he has a tale to tell, and then we find out officially Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. So Fortinbras, in his first act as king of Denmark, he gives Hamlet a death march, and Hamlet is hauled out in that honorable fashion. And that's the end of the play. So hope you enjoyed Hamlet, and I look forward to your tombstone, see what you come up with that. And in the meantime, it's Thanksgiving, so have a happy Thanksgiving, a safe one at that. We'll see you Tuesday. And reminders, you have no classes on the Thursday, the 15th, and then no school on the 26th as well. Okay, so I also would like you to email your assignments from now on, since we've been having some issues with Google Classroom. Or you can do both, just to ensure that I'm getting your assignments. So please keep that in mind. Next up, it would be after we watch Hamlet, would be some other in-class assignments, and then the TED Talks, and then we're done. Okay, so 10 more days to go. Have a good weekend. Happy Thanksgiving. Take care. Be safe.